Have you ever tried to stop eating sugar and then found yourself craving it even more? Well, that's not your fault. Sugar is highly addictive, and cutting back on it is one of the hardest things people struggle with. But after a cancer diagnosis, it's really important that you do so if you're serious about beating cancer or keeping it from coming back. In this video, I'm going to tell you why that is and how doing a 30-day no sugar challenge is just what you need to get started so that you can reduce your sugar cravings for good. At the end of the video, I'll be sharing with you some practical tips that I personally found really helpful when I did the no sugar 30-day challenge to make it easier for you. And I want to thank all of you who have subscribed to this channel so far, because the more subscribers it has, the more YouTube will share these videos with other cancer survivors who could benefit from them as well. So thank you. There are basically two ways to start cutting back on refined sugar. You can either cut it out gradually from your diet, but do it slowly enough so you don't end up feeling deprived and like eating a whole bag of cookies the next time you're stressed out. Or you can go cold turkey and cut it out completely for at least 30 days, which may be a bit more difficult for some people, but you'll notice at the end of the 30 days that you will not be craving it as much and your cravings won't be as strong. I personally cut it out of my diet gradually, and to be honest, it took a really long time for my sugar cravings to go away. But the good thing about doing it slowly is that you're also giving yourself a chance to get used to making healthier choices, and before you know it, you won't want to eat sugar anymore because you'll start to realize how much better you feel when you don't. But cutting out sugar completely for 30 days may be the kick you need to get you started. After I tell you all the positive changes you can expect from doing this challenge, I guarantee you'll be convinced to try it. And although it will be worth it, I must warn you, it's not going to be easy. The thing is, the challenge isn't just about cutting out cookies and ice cream. If you want to do it right, you'll also have to cut out processed foods that contain hidden sugars. Most people don't know how much sugar they're actually eating because they don't read ingredient labels. So before you start this challenge, I highly recommend that you start by taking note of everything you eat regularly that contains sugar. This way you'll know what you need to exclude from your diet during the 30-day challenge. So start by reading ingredient labels, even on things you wouldn't expect to contain sugar, like crackers, sauces, salad dressings, and even on your favorite seasonings. Sugar is also often listed under different names like dextrose, fructose, glucose, or sucrose. So you'll also likely have to make a grocery list and do some shopping to prepare for what you're going to eat that doesn't have any added sugar. And as always, it's important to run it by your doctor before starting a challenge like this to ensure that it aligns with your specific health condition and requirements. One of the reasons I needed to make this video is because so many cancer survivors think it's okay to keep eating sugar or whatever they want after their diagnosis because their oncologist didn't tell them otherwise. This frustrates me so much. Even though most doctors know how bad sugar is for you and how it can lead to several health conditions like diabetes, obesity, fatty liver disease, and cancer, very few of them are telling their patients to cut back on it. Now, obviously there are no guarantees that cutting out sugar will keep you from getting cancer, but there is overwhelming scientific evidence that sugar does create inflammation in the body, suppresses your immune system, is the leading cause of type 2 diabetes, which puts you at a much higher risk of developing cancer. And because sugar contains empty calories, your body turns it into fat cells. And since fat cells store excess hormones like estrogen, having this stored estrogen will increase your chances of getting hormone-driven cancers like breast or endometrial cancer. If that alone hasn't convinced you, let's go over all the positive changes you can expect from cutting out sugar for 30 days. Within the first week, you'll likely start to notice improvements in your energy levels and your digestion. Sugar is horrible for your gut, and right after you eat it, it causes your blood sugar levels to spike and then immediately drop. This leaves you feeling low on energy and makes your sugar cravings even worse. After about 2 weeks without sugar, depending on how much of it you were used to eating, you may already begin to notice weight loss and better sleep at night. Sugar can significantly disrupt your sleeping patterns because it stimulates your brain, which makes it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep, especially if you eat it just before bed. After about 3 weeks without sugar, you may not realize it, but you'll have reduced inflammation and a stronger immune system, which are the most important factors when it comes to helping your body fight off cancer cells. You see, cancer cells love to grow in an inflammatory environment, so reducing inflammation is one of the best ways to prevent cancer from growing or developing. And if you're wondering exactly what I mean by inflammation, basically it occurs when your immune system recognizes something that's not right. Like when you eat something unhealthy or you get hurt, it creates inflammation to start the healing process to protect you. And this is why eating anything that's not natural, like refined sugar, creates inflammation in your gut, which will eventually turn into chronic inflammation if you eat it regularly. So the less inflammation you have, the stronger your immune system will be, and the better it will be able to kill cancerous or precancerous cells. Your body is amazing and it's constantly trying to heal itself, especially if you treat it right by giving it the nutrients it needs to function properly and eliminating the things that'll harm it. And finally, after 4 weeks without refined sugar, you'll likely notice how much less you crave it, and you may even notice a change in your taste buds. A lot of people say that after this challenge, sweets just don't taste the same to them anymore, and they don't enjoy them nearly as much. If this doesn't happen for you at first, don't be discouraged, because they say that it typically takes 6 to 8 weeks without sugar before this can happen. But regardless, while you're doing the 30-day challenge, I want you to think of how you're going to reward yourself at the end of it that doesn't involve anything sweet. It has to be something big and special enough for you to look forward to and make you want to keep going when it's not easy. Speaking of which, now would be a great time for me to give you some helpful tips to stick with this challenge when your sugar cravings are strong, like when you're at your nephew's birthday party and everyone is raving about how good the cake is, or when you've had a rough day and you want to soothe yourself with some ice cream. Tip number 1, when you're craving sweets, try to fill up on healthy snacks instead, but not just fruit. You are allowed to eat fruit on the 30-day challenge, but it's best to choose low-sugar fruits like berries, kiwi, grapefruit, or melons. But also, be sure to pair it with something high in protein like Greek yogurt, cheese, or nuts, which will help to keep you full for longer because you'll digest them more slowly. Fruit can sometimes satisfy a sugar craving, but it's not filling. I would choose things like veggies and dip, popcorn, or a handful of nuts instead, because when your stomach is full, you're less likely to crave sugar. Tip number 2, I had to stop keeping any sweets, desserts, or even foods with small amounts of sugar like salad dressings or cereal in my house, because when they're not available, it's a lot easier to avoid them. Tip number 3, when you're first getting started, I'd say for the first couple weeks, keep busy. The longer you go without eating sugar, the easier it gets, and the less cravings you'll have, but most people say that the first 2 weeks are the hardest, so it would help to keep yourself as busy as possible. It may even be a good idea to avoid social gatherings where you know it'll be hard to resist ordering dessert or being able to choose what you're eating. Tip number 4, avoid eating artificial sweeteners or anything labeled sugar-free. It's been proven that low-calorie sweeteners like Splenda can actually make you crave sugar even more. Plus, they're horrible for your gut health. If you're really struggling and need something sweet, a better option would be to try making your own desserts that are sweetened only with fruit or coconut. In fact, I'll provide you with a link below to some delicious low-sugar fruit-sweetened desserts. And finally, tip number 5, rather than focusing on what you can't eat, try to focus more on what you can eat. Be open to trying new things. As I mentioned, these 30 days aren't just about cutting back on sugar. They're about empowering you to start making healthy changes, not only for your physical health, but for your mental health as well. After the 30-day challenge, ask yourself how your relationship with food has changed, and what you're going to do differently moving forward. You don't have to completely cut out sweets for the rest of your life and never enjoy a cookie again. But once you're no longer craving sugar, you can still enjoy your favorite desserts on occasion, but you won't feel the need to have them regularly. If you're still not convinced that you need to cut back on sugar, I'm going to link a video for you to watch next titled, "Should I Stop Eating Sugar After Cancer?" And I'll see you in the next video.